Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sonia, and here on my channel, we have healthy discussions about life, love, dating, and relationships while promoting self love and healing. I sometimes use reality shows and hot topics as my muse. Tonight, we're talking about Married at First Sight, season 16, episode 14. I hope you guys are doing well. If you are new, welcome to my channel. If you are returning, welcome back, family. So good to see you. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment, even if it's a purple heart down below, to let me know that you were here. All right. Dr. Pia is here. Dr. Pia is coming to see the couples to talk about therapy, to talk about the relationship, to talk about intimacy, and find out where all the couples are in their relationships and to tackle some of the challenges that they are having. We are going to start with Clint and Gina. Now, Clint and Gina and Hank. I love seeing Hank. He is just the cutest baby. Oh my gosh, he is so adorable. And Clint is training Hank, and I thought that was adorable. So they're having a conversation around their relationship and their attraction. There's a lack of attraction. Clint says there's a lack of attraction both ways. I don't necessarily think that Clint is not attracted to Gina, but I think he kind of goes along with that narrative just because she pushes it so. But more than anything, I think Clint wants his marriage. He wants to be married. He wants to start a family. And this was the process that he just chose to do this with. And I think it's really disappointing to him that it isn't working out. However, he is keeping hope alive. I really hope, though, that Clint is being honest with himself and realistic about the situation, and really reading the signs. I think he is, but I really hope that is the case because, like with Shaq kind of goes back and forth. He kind of plays into Kirsten's game and then he kind of pulls out. I really hope that Clint is aware fully of what is happening with them, and he kind of guards himself or prepares himself in that way. But I think Clint is okay with the process. He and Gina talked to Dr. Pia. Dr. Pia talked about asked them whether or not there was attraction there. And she says that he doesn't have this swag. She said she wanted someone tall, dark, and handsome from the beginning, but Gina also said that didn't matter. So, she's been inconsistent. One minute she's like, yeah, we're working on our marriage. I can see our future. But in this episode, she basically said that she doesn't think it's going to work. And I don't know if they've had this conversation behind the scenes and they were in agreement or not, but it's pretty clear that she's like, I'm here. I'm going to do the process. I'm going to enjoy it. I think she likes Clint as a person, meaning, she thinks he's funny and things like that. But I don't think she sees a future with him. So Clint came back and asked her, you don't think I have swag? And she was like, no, you need a haircut. Clint is not cutting that hair. Clint is not cutting his hair. Clint loves his hair. But it's these digs that she takes towards his appearance. But if he says anything at all about her appearance in any way, she has an issue with it. So I don't know why I do, but I'm like, just stop talking about his appearance as such, right? Like, I'll help you get a haircut. He doesn't want a haircut. Clint loves his hair. We all know Clint loves his hair. A trim, yeah, a cut, no. He would have had you cut it already, just to kind of bond with you more if that was something he wanted to do. But he's talking about her clothes and things like that. And Clint's like, well, Gina. So Gina's talking about his clothes, and Gina's looking for something else. And Clint isn't who Gina is looking for. But as I've stated before, you still have to be open and willing, and you still have to show more of a personality. So even if you don't work out with Clint moving forward in dating, I hope that she is more open and she is able to speak to who she is as a person more than she has on this show, that she doesn't hide herself behind her business and she can show authentic Gina to the next person that she chooses. So that's really it. Clint's going to find someone. As soon as he gets off this show, someone's going to snatch Clint right on up. Next up, we have Nicole and Chris. I really, really, really enjoyed this episode with those two. I was here for the bidet. Listen, bidet is life. I don't have one. I should get one. But I do believe in bidets and also believe in peri bottles. Those who know, but they are very good for hygiene. Anyway, I thought that was a great episode or scene between the two of them because you got to see them just kind of living life and laughing a little bit. And it wasn't that serious talk. I do love that Nicole has said that she can be her authentic self and she's celebrating herself. I have a few sayings. One of them is that relationships can be great loves or great lessons, meaning you can learn from your relationships if you choose to. And you may gain love from a relationship if you choose to, or both. Both can happen. But if it doesn't work out, you definitely can learn lessons from that past relationship. Nicole is learning a lot about herself. As she discussed with Dr. Pia, she learned that she was greatly impacted by her past relationships, and she still has some wounds there. And, the healing process is that kind of way. You think you're one place, you're doing well, you've made some progress, and things slowly start to reveal themselves, and you have to work on those things as well. The beauty of it is that you become more comfortable with it. You have your tools, to seek help, and you are willing to go through the process because you understand that there is another side. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. She has a partner who seems to be very supportive and loving. He's always complimenting her and he gives her the touch that she wants. And she says she's happy. I'm happy for her. And he seems to want to support her through this. And that makes a big difference. I have been asked before, can people heal in relationships? And I say yes, if you have a supportive environment that's healthy and if you yourself are willing to be self-reflective and self-corrective and self-aware. And Nicole is that. She is aware of some of the concerns, and the issues that she's having, but she reflects on herself and her past and her behaviors, and they've helped her work through. And then she also works on correcting some of her behaviors, and she's willing to do self-help and self-work. And that is really it. But both of them seem to be very committed to marriage and to marriage to one another, and they were committed to the process. And that makes a big difference. That's how they were able to show up, I feel, for one another and why they've been doing so well, because they've problem solved together, even though, the dog situation, Nicole did the problem solving. They are still working things out, right? They still talk things through. It's nice to see them laugh. It's nice to see them deal with other things, but it's nice also to see that they're working things out. Neither one of them are running. They don't have their defenses up. They're not using poor coping skills. Like, they really are doing the best they can. And I love that Nicole took the opportunity to really talk to Dr. Pia and get more information, I feel, or just kind of dove deeper. And so when they got the box with all the toys, she's like, I'm not worried about these box and these toys. I need to get my mental health together because, I want to deal with that so that I can be better. And I love that for her. I love that growth for her. That is so empowering and so freeing when you can say, I want to work on myself, to love myself, and focus on me. Dr. Pia pointed out that she was a people pleaser as they were having the conversation about foreplay. And, Nicole admitted to it. But again, this is something else that she's aware of that she can now work on, because Chris is telling her, like, I want to make sure you're happy. And she's like, I want to make sure you're happy. But again, resentment breeds in environments where people aren't honest about their wants, needs, and desires and whether or not they're being met. but she's taking her mental health and self-love as a priority, and I love that for her. I'm so proud of her. I'm so happy for her, and I can't wait to see where this goes, because the bottom line is, whether they make it or not, I hope they do if that's what they want and if it's healthy for them. Whether they make it or not, she would have healed so many wounds, and she would be in a better place and better prepared for her ultimate partnership. And if they do make it, again, all of that, but she'll be a healthier partner for Chris. So I'm happy for them. I really love the scene that they had today, um, in expressing themselves. Well, not today. What's today? Today is Friday. I really love the scene that they had, though, and that they were able to really, she was able to really express herself. I don't really have much to say about Chris this episode, but I do like that he supported her and comforted her during this process. You know, touch can do a lot for a person who may be anxious or upset, and the fact that he continued to allow her to speak and comfort her and gave her touch was everything. He didn't try to be the therapist. He didn't try to take over the conversation. He didn't try to be the savior. He allowed her room to express her concerns and her and Dr. Pia to have the conversations. I loved it. I thought it was great. Next up, we have Airris and Jasmine. My heart breaks for Jasmine, and not for the reasons that everyone thinks. I know that everyone believes Airris is the problem. Airris has his problems. Airris is ill equipped in a lot of ways to deal with the situation that he is in. However, the challenges that they are having are not just Airris. It's not. Um, so Dr. Pia comes and meets with the couples, and Dr. Pia comes to meet with Jasmine and Airris. One of the first questions that Dr. Pia asked Jasmine is, are your needs being met? And Jasmine said no. She was like, I'm a friend, and he put me in a friend zone. And I always feels like she just kind of, she tattletales on him. She doesn't have these conversations with him, right? She's admitted to this episode. She doesn't have these conversations with him. But when other people ask her, she'll have the conversation with them. But they can't work through what you and Airris has going on. And even if her and Airris doesn't make it, which I don't think they're going to make it, moving forward in future relationships, you need to have a conversation with your partner. And I know some people may think, well, it's just because he doesn't provide a safe space for her. That may be the case. However, what I would say is she still needs to speak up, right? You still need to be able, some things you can just say that you want or you need. And I still don't think that that is what she has done throughout any of her relationships. She has said how she always sweeps things under the rug, how confidence was an issue for her and still is, which she tells her young ladies she doesn't practice. How she's been in these relationships for 4 years and more without being chosen. She's always the one that's there, but she's never chosen as the wife. A wife is more than a title. There's so much more that comes with being a wife and being a partner in general. And one thing is, your partner wants to be able to trust that you trust them. And I'm not talking about Airris, I'm just talking about in general. And in order for that to happen, it's important that you are able to speak your truth. And we don't see we don't see Jasmine speaking her truth, but she tells on him to everyone else. I really wish she would say that to him. And we learned this episode, he said to Dr. Pia, he wants that too, because he knows what he knows what's going on. She just won't speak up. And for someone, I talked about him having avoided attachment style, someone with an avoided attachment style, that makes them feel uncomfortable because they don't know if they can trust you. They don't know if you're being true. They feel like something is hidden. And that just kind of plays into the fear of abandonment and whatever other issues may be there. And it isn't for her to manage for him, but if you're saying you want a partnership, if you're saying you want to be a wife, conflict resolution and communication are vital. And these are areas that she lacks in, right? Because since the very beginning, Jasmine hasn't really said much. If we go back even to the honeymoon, she doesn't say much. She doesn't say anything. There isn't there hasn't been a conversation. I do think that Airris tries to shock her sometimes. He tries to get a rise out of her. He just wants to know she can feel something from her. And plus he's used to people who say what they mean and mean what they say. Right? And she doesn't do that. And I'm not faulting her. Please understand that. But these are areas that she can grow. You can't get your needs met if you don't speak your needs. She doesn't speak her needs. She doesn't say anything, right? What is your expectation of a husband? What do you need him to do to make you feel safe if you feel unsafe? Anytime he poses any questions to her, she shuts down. Someone else says something, she just says, well, he doesn't want me, you know? You're not a victim. And I'm not trying to victim shame her. What I'm saying is you're not a victim. Take your power back and use your words and have a requirement. What do you require of him? What do you expect of him? What do you expect of my husband? Because I'm here to tell you, if she told him what she wanted and set the standard, he will follow because he's looking for structure. He's never had structure. He's never had guidance. He's looking for that. And I don't believe in parenting. If you know my content, you know I don't believe in parenting. I do believe in having standards, though. So, if you're going to deal with me, this is what I expect of you. Now, for Airris does need, if he's being honest and he really wants to be here, which I don't think he's insincere, but if he's being honest and he wants to be with here and he's going to try to work it out, you need to try to date her and court her and do a little more. Now, I will give Airris credit. He did try to have these conversations that she wants, and she says she has nothing because she's written a narrative in her mind already, I think. And she doesn't think there's any hope, but then she's saying she's hopeful. So my question would be, how do you resolve the issues? How do you come to a resolution? How do you start working on these problems if you don't talk about it? So Jasmine's communication, I mean, both of them have bad communication, but Jasmine's communication is very important. When he said that he was told by Pastor Kyle, to basically, no matter what, make your wife feel good when you walk down the aisle. I do believe he was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go overboard. But I also believe that he did find her attractive initially because he told, unless he lied to his friends, because he told his friends that she was an 8 out of 10. He's been saying she's attractive, but she's not his typical type. So whatever that means, no one has asked him. I would love for someone to kind of dig more into these questions. Airris, what is your type? What is it that you're looking for? And she said she doesn't have these conversations. He's trying to have these conversations. He said he likes a big butt. He said that he's had women that he wasn't attracted to initially in the past, but the attraction grew. But then he turns around and says that he has orgies. Like, him and Kirsten, all of them. Some of what he's saying is inconsistent. So please believe me when I say I'm not saying that I think Airris has no blame in how their relationship landed in the way that it did. First off, they shouldn't have been selected, especially Airris. But areas that she can improve for the future is, again, building her self-esteem and her self-confidence, definitely communication and expressing her needs, wants, and desires. She has to become comfortable with that. Everyone isn't going to sense what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you want, and what you need. Everyone can't do that. People go by what they have experienced in life, and they may not have experienced what it is that you have. They come from two different worlds, these two, and then that's the issue as well. And I'm not sure that Jasmine is being completely honest about her family dynamic. I'm like, well, where is this father? Because you married my daughter and you have my daughter and we have challenges, but I keep seeing these women show up to speak on her behalf. And I want to know, where's dad? Where's dad? Why isn't dad having a man to man conversation? And why hasn't that played a role? Like, I have so many questions, but again, my heart breaks for Jasmine. I hate that she had that breakdown and, she's at her wit's end. But when you hold things in, when you don't express yourself, when you don't live in your truth, when you sweep things under the rug, they never go away. I have a saying: if you don't deal with your would deal with you. And that's kind of what you see happening here. She's been suppressing so much. If she just flat out like told him how she felt, that may change the thing. And even Dr. Pia said it. She was like, see, I got this car. All you have to do is tell him. But I don't know what holds her back. And so I would love for her to explore that, just so she can get the love and relationship she wants, desires, and deserve. You have to own it before anyone else can. You have to know it before anyone else can. You have to be the one that says, you know what, I deserve this kind of love, and this is what I'm looking for, and I will accept nothing less. So until your mindset is there, it's difficult for it to land in your lap. So I'm keeping out hope. I'm praying for Jasmine, her little heart. I hate to see it though. But those are my thoughts on those two. Next up, we have Kirsten and Shaq. And I don't have a lot to say about this couple just because I think I've said it all. I don't feel like Kirsten is consistent in what she says and what she does. I believe there is some dishonesty there. I believe Shaq has poor communication skills. They talk about how Shaq went to a trip and Kirsten FaceTimes him and she's, hi, honey. And, blowing kisses, and Shaq is looking like, I'm over it. Shaq needs to really express what his expectation is of his wife, and he needs to think about whether or not it's realistic. I think he wants someone to be there every step of the way. I know he says he wants support, but someone needs to really talk to him about what is this support and what does it really look like? Because I think in some ways Shaq is a little entitled to something that may not apply to her. With all of these couples, aside from Nicole and Chris, I really want to say, instead of leaning into the relationship, you need to be figuring out if this person really is the one for you, because you met a stranger. You guys are trying to figure out if this person is the right person for you. I don't see him trying to figure that out. I see him wanting her to be who he wants her to be, but that's not who she is. And you have to take that information. Same with Jasmine and Airris. I will say the same. Jasmine, is he who you want him to be? Can he be who he wants you to be? But I've talked about that with them before. With these two, I'm like, is she who you really want? I think he's stuck on the look and I think he's stuck on the title, but I don't think he's really paying attention to the substance. And that's going to come back and bite him. And then he keeps getting frustrated and then he kind of acts out and he kind of pouts about it. And that isn't healthy either. Say what you mean and mean what you say, but don't wait till you're frustrated to say it. Don't wait till you're ready to start an argument to say it. Have a conversation about what it is that you expect from your wife. And when you see that this person isn't doing what needs to be done or they can't meet your needs, then you make a decision about them, because you can't change people. We can't change people. People are who they are and people can choose to change, but you can't change them. And if you see her behaving a certain way and it doesn't give you what you need in your relationship, then you have to think about that. The producers asked Shaq, are you happy in this marriage? And he said, I'm blessed. Are you happy in the marriage was the question. And he never could say if he was happy in a marriage, because he likes to present. Shaq made a very powerful statement when Dr. Pia was there and they were having a conversation, and he said that he's been trying to prove himself, and I always discourage people from trying to prove themselves to anyone. And he's trying to prove himself to her. And like Dr. Pia said, you're going to end up resenting it because you, first off, with Kirsten, you're never going to be able to really prove yourself. She said she wanted an intellectual. Now she wants someone that works with her hands. She's talking a lot about her dad again, but we don't see her dad. You've been married to this man, and this man is your father is a protector and a provider and all these things, but he hasn't met your husband to ensure that you are someone that is safe for his daughter, because a man can read a man, right? Most times. And so why hasn't that happened? And where is Kirsten's support in general? We see her friends, but where is her family? Um, where's her family to kind of help through this process? But in particular, her dad, and she keeps talking about her dad. And I'm curious, is this really her dad? Is this really how he is, or is this how she wants him to be? So, turns out that Kirsten didn't come on a trip. She had something else to do, or it was last minute or disorganized. I don't know. There's various reasons why she didn't go. But it really hurt Shaq, and I wish he would just own up to it. But I really want to know what his expectation of a wife is, and they should have a conversation about whether or not that those expectations can be met, whether or not she's that person. But he's kind of like pushing it. Then they do this intimacy thing where he's tied up. She likes that. So she wants to be, dominated. And then they have a conversation around masculinity and whether or not he's masculine. And Kirsten kind of pauses, but she says, he can be. What she defines as masculinity isn't who Shaq is. So again, that's information for Shaq. That's information for both of them, but because Shaq is insistent on, seeing the brighter side of things, which there isn't anything wrong with that, but I believe in the truth. I believe in seeing things for what they are. And what's happening here? She wasn't attracted to you. Now she's slowly getting attracted to you. There's this push pull. Sometimes you can touch her, sometimes you can't. Like sometimes you have to know what you're doing to yourself and not what people are doing to you. You allow people to treat you a certain way. You have to ask yourself, why am I allowing that? And then you change it. You don't allow it, even if that means removing yourself, right? Um, and I don't know that that's what Shaq wants to do. I don't think either one of them have been really clear about what their needs are, especially Kirsten. We don't know a lot about her. We don't know a lot about what she wants. She said she wanted an academic man, but now she wants a handyman. She finds that to be attractive. I wish Dr. Pia would have went in more as to why she feels like that's important to her, but I know they have a limited time and we don't know what's been edited out. But at the end of the day, Shaq has a lot of information to make a decision. And so does Kirsten, you know? So I don't know about those two. Next week we're gonna see that they consummated their marriage. So you guys let me know your thoughts on these couples. Leave me a comment below. Let me know. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week, a wonderful weekend. Next week for me is going to be busy as well. Um, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'll have my weekend free where I can be on time with the next Mafs. Thank you guys for your patience too. I appreciate you. But most importantly, please don't forget to love yourself for who you are. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the night. Take care. Be well. Bye bye.